Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 280 for January 24th, 2023. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On today's show, we are down to just 4 teams left in the NFL playoffs, and the University of Michigan announced that they are going to move some seats, or remove some seats, at the stadium to widen the tunnel to the team locker rooms. Gee, I wonder why they would do a thing like that. In this week's history lesson, we tell the story of the very first XFL game back in 2001. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
That's right. It's winter officially in Michigan finally.
We just saw the sun come out for the first time in about a week.
Yeah, but we got a blizzard coming.
Yeah, we're under a winter storm advisory for tonight. And might be a nasty commute in the morning, but us retired folks, we don't have to worry about it. Any other comments?
Sorry, your computer was starting to get low on battery.
Oh, that's right.
I had to plug it in. That's
see,
right. It's a new computer. Is this the right plug?
With my new computer, I can run on battery. My old one, the battery was so dead I could never use it, so I always had to have it.
Yeah, so no wonder all your devices run out of battery. Good Lord. All right, we should be good. Man, leave it to me to save the day yet again on this podcast, everybody. But I can't save the whole thing. So, Randy, do your part.
We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show, as well as other selected videos. We're also on Amazon Music, so you can simply ask Alexa to play the World of Football podcast. So let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right, everybody. 4 teams remain in the NFL playoffs, but how did we get there? Let's find out as we go through what happened in the divisional round, where 2 of those games were close and the other 2 games were not. We will start with the first game on Saturday, which saw the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-20. Admittedly, a little closer than I expected, but also something we didn't expect was Patrick Mahomes with the high ankle sprain during the game. A very scary play, and a very grumpy Patrick Mahomes on the sideline did not want to go to the locker room at all to get that thing looked at.
Yeah. I expected this to be a close game. I knew that
figured it could have been,
but the Jaguars were going to keep it close, and they did.
Yeah.
But in the end, the Chiefs prevailed, which is kind of what I expected. But boy, after Mahomes got hurt, I wasn't sure what was going to happen.
Even the way Mahomes would drop back to throw, or the way he didn't even run around after a while, but when he did move a little bit, you could see how much that ankle bothered him. He was making throws off of 1 foot really awkwardly, and still making decent, good throws. So that dude is an athlete.
Yeah,
he is an X factor, no doubt about it. But there was a point in that game where I was like, Patrick, just chill, bro. I get it. You want to be out there. Maybe you should sit down and let Chad Henne do some work, because Chad Henne had a really nice, what was that, a 98-yard drive. I was like, Patrick, I get you want to be out there and you want to be competitive, but right now, Chad is doing what he's got to do to keep this team going. They looked good with him at quarterback. Are they going to be as flashy with you without you out there? No, but he was efficient, and that's what you want out of your backup. And in a situation like this, like, if I were Patrick, I get it, but dude, you gotta chill. I think you should have just sat down, and if you guys had a handle on that game, which you did for the most part, I wasn't really nervous about the Jags coming back, though they got within 7. I would have sat and rested that ankle as much as I could, especially knowing you're going in next week. But I get it; it's a playoff game, and you want to be out there.
Right.
But it took Andy Reid and the medical staff guy or whoever to just calm him down and be like, "Yo, Patrick, look, we just want you to be okay, so let's go get it looked at." And I think he did say it was just a tweak, so I guess that's a good sign for Patrick. He'll probably play. We'll see how mobile or unmobile he will be
Yeah.
during that next game.
Well, you saw what happened on that first play of the drive for Chad Henne. He was backed up in his own end zone. They had him throw the ball from the end zone, which completed and got him out of the end zone, and that set the tone for that whole 98-yard drive
Yeah.
to get down the field and score a touchdown to take the lead.
And let's not, discourage what the Jaguars did too much. I think
Yes.
the Jaguars made some mistakes. A couple of costly. I think what Agnew had that costly fumble in the red zone.
Yep.
So they were in it.
Yep.
They hung in there, and I think Trevor Lawrence. I think did he throw one pick? I feel like he had like one or two bad throws.
I think he
And
did.
for the most part, Trevor Lawrence still looked pretty good. I think the quarterbacking in the AFC is unbelievable. The Final Four quarterbacks alone could be future Hall of Famers.
Wow.
It's. I mean, I know it's early to say for some of them, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, who's finally kind of had a coming out party the last few weeks.
Only after 2 years.
Only after 2 years. Your Josh Allens and your Joe Burrows, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I mean, the AFC is stacked at quarterback.
Well, Josh Allen lost, so it's
Well, but we're gonna get there. Spoilers, Randy. Good Lord, do you not know how this game works? We're not even through
But
the
you
NFC.
said the last 4 left, and Josh
yes, and I
Allen's
said
not one of
without. Just stop it.
Everybody knows what happened last
Everybody
week.
knows what happened, but if they didn't, and this is a spoiler to you, I apologize for Randy's rudeness. All right, anything else about this Jags Chiefs game?
No, but if you're waiting to get your information from us and not watching it on TV, you're in sorry shape. So I'm sorry.
Wow, insult your one fan like that. Anyway, moving on. Then Saturday night saw the Philadelphia Eagles blow out the New York Giants 38-7, where it seemed like the only player for the Giants was Saquon Barkley, and everybody else didn't get off the bus.
Yeah, I watched very little of this game. After halftime, it was 28-0 at halftime,
I
and
guess
and
did they go for two at half?
I don't know.
I stopped
didn't really watch
watching
it.
after the second touchdown was scored. When the Eagles went up 14-0, I try not to be like that Chargers game last week where they were up 27-0 at halftime. I try not to be like, well, this game's over, I'm going to stop watching.
Right, yeah.
Last week, I'm glad I stopped watching, or I didn't stop watching. This week, I'm glad I did stop watching because it was that Simpsons meme where they, the kids just screaming, "Stop it, you're killing him." And the Eagles did not let off the gas pedal. Like, it didn't help probably that it was a division rival, and you're already like, I'm going to beat the tar out of you twice a year. Now I get to do it a third time? Okay. So, whatever. Philadelphia did what they needed to do. The 2 number 1 seeds advance. The Eagles looked great. Jalen Hurts looked great. Nick Sirianni, the coach of the Eagles, could be a mastermind. The dude's got arrogance for days, and I kind of like it, and I kind of don't. But hey, he fits that city very well.
Yeah.
So congrats to the Eagles. The Giants, good story, but clearly they still got a little ways to go to get past the next step.
Just a reminder, Detroit beat the Giants and the Jaguars this past season.
Yeah, but we weren't in the playoffs. So, I mean, if we wouldn't have started 1-6,
yeah,
man, oh man, probably be having a different conversation today.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from that Eagles Giants game?
No.
All right. And then we're going to move on to what I thought was going to be the game of the week. Turns out I was wrong, but I think a lot of people were wrong because the Cincinnati Bengals went into Buffalo with a big old chip on their shoulder and defeated the Bills 27-10. It looked like the Bills did not want to win this game at certain points. The Bengals wanted it so bad. Was it the fuel from the tickets already being sold for a neutral site AFC championship game?
Assuming that they were going to lose that game.
Was it already being told at one point that seeding was going to be based off of a coin flip at one point? Yeah, where the Bengals kind of got the shaft on that. And the Bengals have done nothing but prove everybody wrong. And you know what? The Bengals, to me, are a scary, scary team and could very well be Super Bowl, the Super Bowl team now. I hate saying that right now, but that's what they look like, and I'm impressed. I picked the Bills to win last week. If you guys watched our picks video, I picked the Bills. You picked the Bengals. It was a coin flip game. I thought it could have gone either way, so I'm not shocked the Bengals won. I'm just shocked that the Bills never looked. They looked so lethargic. Lethargic, yeah, lethargic. So we're not cathartic.
Not cathartic, yeah.
They looked lethargic. Josh Allen, he threw some passes, but I mean, his receivers, it seemed like they were all out of whack. Stephon Diggs was getting on him on the sidelines. I mean, we don't want to read too much into that. Whatever. There was some drama after the game, whatever. I get it. You're frustrated, and Stephon Diggs is a very passionate dude, very talented player, but all those weapons for Buffalo, and they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, after watching the Bills struggle against the Dolphins the week before, I just said, "What is going on with this team?" I mean, they were such a juggernaut most of the season, and they were my pick to go to the Super Bowl, kind of. Uh,
They would have been
but
one of mine too.
but then that Miami game, they just looked terrible, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, if they put that same performance out there against the Bengals, they are going to lose." And
And look what happened.
and they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to them in the playoffs that wasn't there, during the regular season.
Out coached. They were. It looked like
I
they
don't
were
know.
just simply out coached.
Hmm.
From top to bottom, that Bengals defense, and it was, we joked around watching the game that, it's home field advantage, and there was some really great shots, by the way, like of the exterior of the stadium in that
Yeah.
snow. It looked really great. Like
Yeah.
that's some stuff you hang on your wall,
Yep.
type of cool football iconography. But just it was snowing. It was Buffalo. It's January. The Bills. Seemed like this was their type of atmosphere to
Sure.
easily have a home field advantage and kind of win. Little does everybody know, Cincinnati's also in a cold weather
Right.
city.
Yeah. I knew
Cincinnati's
Cincinnati
got to
would.
deal with this too. So is
Yeah.
it that big of an advantage? Maybe, maybe not. But I still thought that home crowd would have been a factor, and they
Yes.
kind of were. And Damar Hamlin being there and being in
Right.
the press box or whatever, or one of the suites,
Right.
being on camera.
Yep.
I thought they would have come out with a little more energy, a little more, wherewithal to kind of put up more of a fight, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Every time Buffalo had an opportunity, it was squandered, and and then Cincinnati just capitalized.
Yeah.
Cincinnati capitalized on so many Buffalo. Just what were you doing with that drive? Why'd you go 3 and out there? Like some weird play calling stuff that just didn't work out. Receivers looking like they didn't hit the right kind of route. So credit where credit's due. Cincinnati looked awesome. Joe Burrow is legit. He threw a couple of great passes that I was like, dang, like. I know you're not a crazy Joe Burrow fan yet.
Yeah.
You're already like, this guy's getting overhyped for being so young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But he
Mr.
did look good against.
You're
Buffalo.
Mr. Get off my lawn, you youngins. That's you in a nutshell. But look, Joe Burrow, like I said, Joe Burrow, he's been the real deal. And could he get he's already won more playoff games as a Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, which blew my mind. I think that's his 5th playoff win. He's only been in the league 3 years. And then taken right, is this his 3rd or 2nd year being a quarterback? Isn't this year 3?
I think it's 3.
Okay. And taking your team to 2 straight AFC championship games, and they have the Chiefs number.
Yeah, they beat them last year.
Watch out
Yeah.
for these Bengals.
That's going to be a very interesting game over in Kansas City next week.
Yeah. And I'm a little surprised that this ended up probably being, as much as we probably hate to admit it, this was the game of the week. These were 2 teams that were fairly evenly matched throughout this game, and it came down to just a couple of key plays. The San Francisco 49ers defeated the Dallas Cowboys, thank you, 19-12, sparing America a bunch of overexcited Cowboys fans. Thank you, 49ers.
I'm not a fan of Stephen A. Smith, but I went out of my way to look for everything that he had on
It is weird. There's certain
Twitter and Facebook today,
Yeah.
yesterday, because he was just he's such a Dallas hater, and I love that about him.
I have to go
That's
check
the only
that.
thing I like about
That's
him.
something I wanted to go check. I saw a couple of little things, but there are certain of those, sports personalities out there that you're like, I can't stand listening to so and so.
Right.
But when they do this subject,
Yeah.
it is nice to hear him dog on the like Colin Cowherd. Like, say what you will about him, like I don't mind Colin that much. I get it, he's a pompous jerk sometimes. But man, when he really digs into certain things like Aaron Rodgers, I love it. I eat it up. When Shannon Sharp, like I can't really stand Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless.
Right.
Oh, but when they were digging into Aaron Rodgers,
Yep.
oh, you bet we were eating that
Yeah,
up.
I watched that many times.
I watched a video of Skip Bayless walk into his kitchen and throw a Dak Prescott jersey away. I loved every second of that video. I saw so many Dallas Cowboy fans on video trash their TVs, trash their jerseys, light them on fire. Oh, it was great. I had a heck of a time. And then I rewatched the final play of this game, which we could spend, I swear to you, we could spend an hour talking about. The greatest play of all time, the greatest worst play of all time, I think it's going to be known as. What were they thinking? And for those of you, I mean, you had to have seen it. If you're listening to this podcast, you had to have seen the play. Ezekiel Elliott at center, Dak Prescott in the shotgun formation, and then 8 other guys spread out wide.
Half the guys were over on one sideline, and the others were on
bunch
the
of
other
skill
side.
players that
Middle
looked
of the
like
field
maybe
was
maybe a couple of offensive linemen, but one of those weird, bizarre plays you see every once in a while. But usually they never snap the ball, and they snapped the ball, And what happened? Ezekiel Elliott gets absolutely trucked.
Run over.
Run over by a guy, and I laughed immediately
I
when
didn't
this
even know who that
happened.
was.
I didn't know what was going to happen next, but I knew it was Zeke. They talked about it. It was Zeke about to snap it. So as soon as Zeke got ran over, I laughed hysterically. Then, fraction of a second later, Dak zips the ball out to his first guy. The dude doesn't even get a chance to lateral it back. Clearly, that was the plan. It was going to be a bunch of laterals, and they were going to try to get cute and fancy and try to get a touchdown on a 75-yard drive.
But there was nobody around the guy that caught the ball. Who was he going to lateral to? There was nobody around.
There were 2 or 3 guys. There was one guy kind of made his way ahead of him. Somebody else.
They're far away.
I know. I kind of want to do a video where we get the whiteboard out and try to break it down and figure out what were they thinking. Where was this play going?
They weren't thinking.
But I think the play was obviously to start lateraling it around and get your skill players out there. They have some speed. You give it to Zeke snaps it because that makes him an ineligible receiver, but he can still be lateral the ball. So it was more of like getting as many skill guys out there as possible. So when the inevitable, passing it around, trying to make space, you're getting some speedy guys out there. Clearly it didn't work. I laughed. Dallas ends up with one of the worst plays in NFL history. And rightfully lose the game, and the San Francisco 49ers advance.
Well, you kind of had a feeling that San Francisco was going to win this game, but still, with at the end of the game, Dallas had the ball. They had their chance.
Right.
They could have moved down. I think they were down by 4, so a field goal wouldn't have done them any good. But you still you expect Dak Prescott in a situation like that in the playoffs that he would at least make some kind of an effort,
and he
didn't.
He didn't. And hasn't.
And so, yeah, that was just the dumbest play to end their season. So this has been a great couple of weeks. I mean, starting with the Lions beating Green Bay and sending Aaron Rodgers home, Tampa Bay losing and sending Tom Brady home.
Thank you, Dallas.
Seattle losing, and that should have been our playoff spot. So them losing was very satisfying. And now this Dallas loss, sending them home for the season. Man, it's been a very satisfying off season or postseason for a lot of haters, and I have several teams I really don't like. I've always said, I have one team and I hate 31 other teams in the NFL because everybody's our opponent. I don't like all the other teams, but some I really, really don't like. And so this year, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Dallas, Seattle, oh, those have been so satisfying to watch.
What is sad? This is the sad reality of Lions fans, everybody. For those of you out there not in the know, because that's what makes him happy. You know what would have made me happy? If we would have been in the playoffs. I'd just be happy for that. But no, we have to relegate ourselves to being happy that other teams are losing in the playoffs while we're sitting on our couches at home in January. But I digress.
We're not necessarily rooting for teams to win. We're rooting for teams to lose in the playoffs.
I don't know. I usually find a couple teams where it's like I'm more of I like the story. Like I would have liked the story of the Jaguars maybe getting there. But right now, my favorite story is probably the Bengals, kind of proving everybody wrong again. They made it to the Super Bowl last year, and a lot of people have not been giving them credit. Like, they've been the 3rd seed. They're, still a solid team, well-coached team, and not everybody was giving them the chance to beat Buffalo. Well, they go in and beat Kansas City. Like,
they were bad early in the regular season.
They started off rough, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought,
they quietly picked it up, though.
Pan, but boy, they've come back.
I think that was a quietly picking it up. Like, people, I think, sure, it was cute. The Bengals made the Super Bowl last year. And then it became, okay, they're having a rough start to the season. And when they started picking it back up and getting that momentum again, nobody talked about them. I don't remember hearing anybody talk about the Bengals for a long stretch of the season, even though they were quietly picking up wins. Joe Burrow was quietly looking better. Jamar Chase was being an incredible wide receiver. I think it's that Bengals stigma still hadn't washed off of their years and years of futility, which I'm afraid of will happen to the Lions if that happens to the Lions. Like, hey, if the Lions, like this year, we're making noise, everybody's talking about us right now. But guess what? At the start of next year, say we lose a game or two, same old line. That whole narrative is going to start all over again.
Yep.
So that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But so that's the divisional round, which sets up the conference championships, which we'll see as I quickly change my phone to next week's matchups, which we'll see at 3:00 on Fox next Sunday. The San Francisco 49ers will travel to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. And then at 6:30 on CBS will be the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. And
in a rematch of last year's conference
championship. I think both of these on paper should be very excellent games.
Yep.
but I'm a little nervous. These are both coin flips.
Yeah.
I could see these both being coin flip games. When we do our pick video this week, I am honestly don't know who I'm going to pick yet. I could
Yeah.
go either way.
I think the better of the two is going to be the Cincinnati Kansas City game. I'm more looking forward to that one than the San Francisco Philly.
The San Francisco Philly game could be an entertaining one because
Yeah.
that Dallas game was more of a defensive struggle. This is where I'm not 100% like I think the Eagles got a solid defense, but if San Francisco can move it and their defense plays too, this could also be another either low scoring game or this could be a shootout. I think, but with that Bengals Chiefs game, I think we're almost guaranteed to have some sort of I'm thinking like a 35-32 kind of game. I think they're gonna have a shootout there in Kansas City.
Probably.
But we'll see. That's why you play the game. We don't know what's going to happen, and we'll see the status of some of these players. Can Brock Purdy and we didn't even talk about Brock Purdy, how great he's looked as a rookie 7th rounder.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant coming in, and he had his struggles in that game against Dallas, but it'll be very curious to see him go up against this Philadelphia team. And can he, go up against a great team like that? So
well, that was another satisfying thing that Dak Prescott lost to Mr. Irrelevant, a rookie quarterback,
well,
third string rookie quarterback, leading his team past the mighty Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So satisfying. I slept so good that
How
night.
can you be America's team? Even though you might sell the most jerseys, you might sell the most merchandise, but the one thing Dallas doesn't do? Get past the divisional round in the playoffs. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's your America's team. All right. That's it for the NFL scoreboard.
All right, let's move on to some college scores. One college score anyway. On Saturday, it was the Tropical Bowl, which was a college all-star game played down at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. The American team defeated the national team 48-10. They didn't even post this score until sometime today, because ever since Saturday, I've been looking, trying to find the score, which, was it the national over the American, vice versa, whatever. There was nothing on the internet that I could find, even on the official website for the bowl game. Nothing until today. So I don't know what the heck was going on.
A lot of these college all-star games, like the only one, like the Senior Bowl is the big one for me.
Right.
And then there's one other all-star game that
there's the NFL Players Association bowl game.
I don't even have my radar on that one. It's usually the Senior Bowl is the only college all-star game I care about or hear about.
Yeah.
And did the East-West Shrine game already happen?
I don't know if they have that this year. I don't think it's on my list.
So to me, they might as well do away with some of these college all-star games. No offense to these guys. It's just more tape that they can put on film, I guess, and work with different kinds of coaches. But I'm a little disappointed that all these all-star games kind of have flown under the radar for college football. And like I said, the Senior Bowl gets notoriety only because like certain teams in the NFL will coach it, and it gets played on NFL Network. So there's a little more of a focus on that, especially because the NFL's got a little bit of involvement in it. That's not why I'm into it. That's just it makes me more aware of it. Like these other ones, I hadn't heard of the Tropical Bowl.
Yeah, it's only
Hula Bowl came and went. I know what the Hula Bowl is, but like you talked about that last week, I didn't know what happened. So a lot of these games are not marketed very well.
If you go to our website, theworldoffootball.com, and you click on the link that says College Bowl Recap, you'll see what games are upcoming. I've got the list there. I think there is still an East-West Shrine game. It has not been played yet. It's coming up in a week or two, I believe. But that's on the spreadsheet I've got there on the website. Anyway, there was also a high school all-star game played out in Hawaii known as the Polynesian Bowl. And that was a high school all-star game in Hawaii. Team Mauka, which means mountain in Polynesian or Hawaiian, I don't know, over Team Makai, which means ocean. So Team Mountain defeated Team Ocean by the score of 22-17 in that, and that was on NFL Network. That high school all-star game.
Really?
So
okay.
I caught a few minutes of that. Yeah. And then we got a report from Greg James, our man in Japan.
Okay. I'm gonna. We need to get him a theme song if he's gonna keep doing this hard work and tuning in for this podcast. Greg, we appreciate you so much. We need to get him a Man in Japan theme song. I don't know how or where. Greg, I don't know if you got a hookup. I mean, if you've got your own theme song, we will gladly give you a nice little segue into the man from Japan. If you want to send us an audio and you want to do it yourself, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to throw that out there.
Hey, no, let's not give him too much of the show.
What do you mean too much of the show? Greg, keep it under 3 minutes, and you got it. We'll send the contract over. We'll dot the I's and cross the T's. Yeah. And I'm starting to love this Man in Japan The World of Football's Man in Japan
Talking
segment.
about football, American football being played in Japan because he's there now and he's loving it.
Da 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 da. It's our man in Japan. There we go.
Anyway, he told us about a game called the Dream Bowl, which even he said is a terrible name for a bowl game. But it was a group of Ivy League All-Stars versus the Japanese national team, consisting of a mix of pro and college players, which I'm assuming that means X-League and college. But the Ivy League All-Stars defeated the Japanese All-Star team 24-20. This game was played at Olympic Stadium in Tokyo, and he watched it on a tape delay basis. It wasn't shown live, but it was shown like later on that day or whatever. And he says that it's going to be on ESPN later on this week.
You gonna watch
ESPN Plus later on this week.
That's a good thing you're a subscriber. You gonna watch it? You don't got any more Peyton's places to watch.
I might check out a little bit of it just to see what the uniforms look like and what the stadium looked like. So yeah, thank you, Greg, for letting us know about the Dream Bowl. There are other games coming up over in Japan, so I'm sure he'll have a few more updates from time to time. So again, our man in Japan, Greg James, thank you very much.
Yeah, we got to get him a stinger. We need an opening and a closing stinger. I think, yeah, the Man in Japan segment could be the next big thing to hit the internet. Greg, you heard it here first.
Okay. All right, and that's it for this week's World of Football scoreboard.
Actually, we could also put them on YouTube. Man, if we can make that a video segment and put that on the YouTube channel too. Greg, talk. Look, you and Randy get in touch.
Man, we barely are making it on our own.
I'm throwing out ideas left and right. Hey, that's why I'm here. I'm the idea man.
He's got his own podcast.
He does. It's a wonderful podcast, by the way.
I've listened to the last couple of them where he actually talked about the Dream Bowl and he talked about the what was the bowl before that?
The Bacon Bowl, the Rice Bowl.
No, the Rice Bowl, yes.
Oh, okay.
It was the Rice Bowl, yes. He talked about that too. So yeah, he's keeping us informed and we appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to some NFL news. Over 50,000 tickets had been sold for that possible neutral site AFC Championship game in Atlanta if it was going to be between Kansas City and Buffalo.
But Joe Burrow says, go get your refunds, everybody.
That's right, yeah, so now all that money's got to be refunded. I don't know how much how much money was involved in 50,000 tickets at, what, $100 a piece maybe? I don't know.
Who knows? But okay, there's two thoughts here. One is, I get why the NFL would kind of be like, all right, let's start drumming up.
You got to be prepared.
But at the same time, how stupid do you look for selling tickets to a neutral site game that didn't even happen? You had somebody work day and night probably figuring out the logistics of this game. Yep. And all of a sudden, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals come strutting into Buffalo and go, not today, NFL, and just shot that dream down.
What is it you love so much?
Joe Burrow?
Chaos.
Oh, chaos.
I do love chaos.
I do love chaos.
And this is the chaos that the NFL has got to put up with now.
I love March Madness chaos. I love college football, just pure chaos. I love when my Lions aren't involved, I'll like chaos 31 of the other teams. I don't care. Give me absolute chaos in my sports. It makes it more interesting. Come on, if we knew the outcome of every game, if everything was as predictable as like the best seed will always beat the lower seed, what fun is that? Give me chaos. Give me underdogs. Give me the crazy upsets, or give me even big blowouts. Just make it interesting.
Okay, let's see. Let's move on to another.
Thank you, Joe Burrow. By the way,
did you see this? Michael Strahan has gotten a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I did not see this.
That was posted just today. I don't know if it happened today or if it happened yesterday, but yeah, there were pictures of him. In fact, there was actually a picture of him standing there with Terry Crews, our man from Kalamazoo, that played for Western Michigan. He and Terry Crews were standing there, and he's holding his, he's standing by the star on the sidewalk. He's got this little framed star that they give the individual.
Look that up.
And I don't know if it's for his work. I mean, he's on everything. The NFL, a pregame show on Fox. He's on Good Morning America. He's done all kinds of stuff. So I'm not sure exactly what he's going in for, but I'm sure it's just all of the TV stuff that he's done over the years.
Probably. So, I mean, that dude, he flies coast to coast. He'll do his NFL stuff in LA, and then he flies out to New York and does his weekly whatever that show was he was doing for a while.
Oh well, he was
on Kelly and Michael for a while,
right? Yeah, and now he's doing Good Morning America on ABC. So yeah. He's all over the place. So yeah, Michael Strahan
He,
getting a star on the Hollywood
hey,
Walk of Fame.
as a player, we weren't too crazy about him. He was kind of one of those, he would jaw a lot on the field. I wasn't really crazy about him as a
Yeah.
player. Good player. Wasn't really crazy about him, but as a sports personality, I like seeing him. Like he's made a real good addition to that Fox NFL Sunday crew, and I actually like seeing him when he's doing some of these other bits here and there. I think he's actually a really interesting personality. So I think having that, I don't know if I would have given him a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but I'm not also going to say he didn't deserve it. He's put in some work.
Yeah. Did you happen to see the cold opening to Saturday Night Live last week? They did a parody of the Fox pregame show.
No, I
Yeah,
did not see
and
that.
they
I watched everything but that.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
Keenan Thompson was there, and I don't remember which character was playing, which member of the show was playing Michael Strahan, but he had this big gap in his teeth.
Oh. That's one of the easiest jokes to
The four
do.
guys they did, really were good. And in fact, they had a woman doing Terry Bradshaw.
Oh no, was it?
She was. I'm not
It
sure
wasn't
who
the
it was.
host, was it?
I don't
The
know.
girl from Parks and Rec, Aubrey
No,
Plaza.
no, I don't
Okay.
think it was her. But it was somebody they had her in a fat suit and bald and with the hair on the side, and it was okay, but
I'll have to
I
go check that out.
just the visual of how they made everybody up to look like they were actually on the set, that was pretty good. That was a good part of it. Okay, let's see. CFL news.
Ooh.
Quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell has signed with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The man who spent the last 10 seasons with the Calgary Stampeders. I have always liked him. We've always talked about he's got one of the coolest names in the CFL, and he's been a great player. But it's like his time had run out in Calgary. I think he's still got some gas left in the tank. I'm looking forward to seeing him play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats this year.
Yeah, I think the Tiger Cats have always kind of been good quarterback play
Yep.
away from making a little bit more noise.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, nothing against Jeremiah Masoli, who was solid for a couple of years. And I forget who their quarterback was this past season. I feel like that was another guy that they had just picked up.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
Can't remember at the top of my head. But hey, Bo Levi, great. What I like about the CFL is, like, I guess it's not uncommon to eventually see some of these guys jump to a different team. There's only 9 teams.
Right.
It was like when Doug Flutie was jumping around from the Stampeders to the Argonauts, and didn't he play for one other team out there?
He started out with the BC Lions.
Okay, started with the BC Lions. So it's not unfamiliar to see, one of 9 quarterbacks jump around in that league up there.
Right.
But hey, good for him. Maybe he can go win a Grey Cup with Hamilton. We'll see. I think Winnipeg will probably reload again this year and make some noise. Toronto, your defending champions. We'll see what they do this year. If they can bounce back and keep up that same fervor. But I'm interested to see Bo Levi with Hamilton. I think that's an interesting combo. Because didn't he, was he traded technically? Or they just acquired his rights and then now it's official?
I think he was a free agent. They signed him. They had pictures of him and his family signing the contract today, so I believe he's a free agent.
But I mean, a while ago, there was a situation where it was like they were trying to acquire his rights, but he didn't know if he even wanted to play some more. But clearly, obviously, he signed the deal. So good for him. That's a big story. I can't wait to have unfold for 20 weeks, starting in whenever the season. So was that May, June?
Their preseason starts in May.
All right, let's get it rolling. It's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah.
Just like the USFL will be here before we know it.
Yeah. But I had more I wanted to say about this.
Darn it, God. Man, I'm trying to softball you up a great segue.
I just wanted to say, I wasn't done talking yet.
Man.
You're doing all the talking. Hamilton has been close. They've been in a couple of Grey Cups the last few years, and have come up short. And before that, I think you have to go back to 1999, the last time they won a Grey Cup. It's the longest streak in the CFL. So I'm just saying, if Bo Levi Mitchell can get them to win a Grey Cup,
you said instant statue.
Well, they'll probably put up a statue to him. But I believe that the Grey Cup is in Hamilton this year. I think I could be wrong, but yeah, I think it's in Hamilton this year.
You getting tickets, even though it's not a dome? I know we're shooting for that British Columbia.
I've been there when it was cold and rainy. I don't know if I could handle it when it was, when it's November and it's snowing.
It's a Grey Cup, though.
I know it. We'll see.
We got to do a Grey Cup. I'm telling you. Let's cross it off the bucket list. We have to do a Grey Cup.
I just want to get to a Toronto game.
That's true.
Without being stuck in traffic.
Oh
my gosh.
What terrible memories.
What were you saying about the USFL now?
It's too late. That softball segue has passed.
Okay.
I assume we're talking about the USFL next.
What did I say?
I don't know. I
said
stopped
USFL.
listening. Once you butchered my segue,
Well,
write
who
this down.
asked you?
You butchered my segue. So keep talking.
In USFL news, Ford Field is scheduled to hold a press conference this coming Thursday, and it is expected that they will be named a hub city for the USFL to include the Michigan Panthers and possibly another North Division team, Pittsburgh Maulers, Philadelphia Stars, or New Jersey Generals. Now, there's talk of because they've already got two hub cities in the South. They're going to have Birmingham and Memphis, so those four teams are going to play between those two cities as their home teams or home stadiums, and then Ford Field for the North teams, and possibly another one. I don't know who that other one's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Pittsburgh
To me,
or
it would be
Philly or New York.
Pick a Philly or a Pittsburgh. You would think maybe if they could work that out. That way, the Ford Field could be New Jersey and Michigan's hub there.
Right.
That would make a lot of logistical sense.
Right.
I think that'd be a lot of fun, and that would mean we could get some opportunities to see more than just the Michigan Panthers probably play in Ford Field. I mean, we could depending on how they schedule it. You imagine going there for like a whole day and being like, we saw 2 football games today. We started at 12 o'clock and then we ended at 8 o'clock at night seeing 2 USFL games that day.
I don't know if they would pack them 2 games a day because last year they had one city. Birmingham did all the teams, so
they did a lot of double headers though.
You had to fit 2 games. So you had 4 games, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. If you had a hub city. And you had 2 teams, you might have one on a Saturday and one on a Sunday. I don't think they'd try to squish it.
Well, then you can make a whole weekend out of that. We're going to go to the Saturday game, then we're going to go to the Sunday game.
Spend the night.
Saturday night, we could go to the casino or do something else over in Detroit that you don't normally get to do. So
eat at Chelly's Chili or
there you
go. What was that? A Hockey Town?
Oh, Hockey Town's over there. I mean, everything's over there now. They have revamped that area by Ford Field so much. I can't recommend that to people enough. I know people are like scared of Detroit, so it's got that bad stigma, but that area where Ford Field, Comerica Park, and Little Caesars Arena are right there. Your 4 major Detroit sports teams play there. They have revamped. There's a lot of great food places around there. There's casinos over there with great bars and restaurants, and it's all right there. It's within a 10-minute, like everything's within a 10, 15-minute walk of each other, and parking's like all over the place over there to varying prices, by the way. So it's become a really great little sports nook, and I think I saw a great graphic the other day talking about. I think I sent that to you, right? Where all the NFL cities, like they kind of they estimate it, or like this is where the center of the city is, and how far is the
stadium,
the stadium or the team that's supposed to represent that city? How far are they from that?
Right.
Like Detroit, New Orleans, there were like 5 or 6 teams, like right there near the center, like very close to the center of what each city would be.
Yep.
And the furthest was San Francisco at like 40 miles out from San Francisco. Yeah. So I just thought that was cool. So that's a cool little sports area. So for the USFL, I think to have like a weekend, or even if it was a doubleheader day, I think that would be a great fan experience. Ford Field has already got a bunch of great stuff in the stadium itself too.
Right.
That would, I think, cater to a lot of casual USFL fans and even like Detroit fans checking out this whole other league in person. I think would be a lot of fun.
I would go to see a couple of games this year.
I would too.
And mainly I would go and spend some time in the gift shop just to get some USFL T-shirts.
Yeah, well, depending on what kind of merch they had, could you still get Lions merch, by the way?
Mini helmets. Oh, yeah, all the Lions stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
probably on half price because it's last year's stuff they're trying to get rid of before the new stuff comes in. So
you're all about 50% off.
Heck yeah. I'll wear last year's hat. I don't care. But no, this is exciting. I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I was hoping this would be the
Ford
case.
Field be a part of it. They've hinted about it for months. That it's possible. It looks like they've worked everything out, and now Ford Field's got the new field on there too.
I was just gonna say that was gonna be my big concern right now. Is they're currently, as I think I haven't looked into. They said they were spending January working on putting the new field in Ford Field.
Yep.
How soon does that take to get ready? Does it have to get approved, safety-wise for the NFL first? Then who knows? I mean, they got till April, so they got a couple months to kind of get that situated. But I'm excited.
Yeah, that should be a good time. And go to a USFL game. Parking's not going to be as bad. It's not going to be packed like it has been. You're going to get great seats.
Well,
at a pretty decent price, I'll bet you.
I'm gonna counterpoint that real quick with Tigers baseball will probably be starting up in late April, early May.
True.
So that's the only thing I could think of that'll conflict with that. So you're going to have baseball. So that area is going to be hopping. You add USFL on top of that at that time. You know what? Maybe it will actually. It'll be hopping a little more than even I was just thinking. So
that's right. I hadn't thought about that.
Shoot, could we possibly hit up a Tigers game and a USFL game in a weekend? Oh man, I've never done a Tigers game before. Shoot, and then even by then, I think the Pistons would still be playing. I bet you the Red Wings will still be playing. So that whole area could be hopping year round now. Wouldn't that be something great for Detroit?
Didn't you say you wanted to go to a Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons game in the same year?
That has been a goal of mine for many years.
You could do that in one weekend, probably.
There might come a weekend that it could work out. I got to figure out the logistics. But yes, my goal for years has been to see all 4 Detroit sports teams in the same calendar year. Like when football season gets around, I bet you we could get, a Lions and maybe a Tigers or a Red Wings game. Well, maybe not Tigers by the time the Lions start playing. But
well, they usually in the preseason.
I don't count No. I will not do any of this preseason garbage anymore. I'm not a cheapo like you. I will pay for games that matter.
You pay the same price for a preseason
I would rather
game.
see the Pistons lose a regular season game than a preseason game. All right,
I'm just saying the Lions
now
would be in their preseason when the Tigers are
and
still
guess
playing.
what? I don't care about Lions preseason anymore. I'm over that. I'm not you taking your kids to go see a preseason game because it's cheaper. Get out of here. Those games didn't mean anything.
It wasn't cheaper, and we went on a Monday night once to see the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, what a sham.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
We had great seats. It was like second row in the upper deck.
Yeah, that was a pretty good season. But it was a preseason game, so that game didn't matter.
So the drive home after that loss wasn't as devastating. That's my thing.
I don't care. I'd rather be devastated than I just went to a game that didn't matter. We drove 2 hours to a game that didn't matter. Well, we had a good time. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to some college football news. The University of Michigan is permanently removing 45 seats from Section 1 at the Big House in order to widen the tunnel to the locker rooms. Eliminating the 45 seats will have no impact on Michigan Stadium's listed capacity of 107,601 because they will be adding standing room only seats so that the capacity figure will remain the same.
I was just wondering what that's going to hurt their little record that they always do, or like their capacity number.
Right.
So clearly they thought of that. Like, well, we still want to keep the capacity number.
This is their official capacity, 107. They normally get 110,000 people in there.
Good Lord.
Yeah, you get people milling around. That's why you spend a half an hour trying to get a hot dog and a Coke or whatever, a pretzel.
Good Lord.
I never leave my seat once I get in there. I get my stuff on the way in and never leave the seat. But yeah, they're going to make that entrance to the tunnel wider. And you know what this is from? This is from that incident at the.
They've had a couple incidences this year.
But in my eyes, mainly it's because of the Michigan State incident where some Michigan State players started beating up on a Michigan player in the tunnel.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think this is going to change a darn thing. I think we're still going to probably have some heated incident. There's got to be a whole different setup for that. Oh, moving 45 seats, it's not going to change a darn thing.
Right.
So, let's remember this story, and then let's see, the college football season will be around in 8 months. So let's say 9 months from now, a whole pregnancy from now, we will be talking about the next incident at the Michigan tunnel.
Happens, they'll forget all about this 45 seats.
I'll forget about this 45 seats because you know what we're all going to do? Go, oh, that didn't matter at all. It was a nothing change.
Well, they had to do something, and this is what they're going to do.
What a dumb decision. I'm sorry. There's got to be a different logistical thing they could have done. Whatever.
Well, they've only got one entrance and exit to the field.
I know that would take
locker rooms.
A lot of work.
Both teams have to come through there.
It would take a lot of work, but you know what Michigan's not short on? Money. There you go. Yeah, thank you. The University of Michigan is not short on money.
Yeah, that big M stands for money. Let's see.
You better not tell that to the alum in the family.
Let's see. John Stiegelmeier.
Jacob Jingleheimer.
John Stiegelmeier, head coach of the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, is retiring after 26 years at the school.
Wow.
He led the team to their first FCS national championship earlier this month His longtime assistant coach Jimmy Rogers will succeed him as head coach of the team.
What a way to go!
Yeah, he's
That
been
is,
there for 26 years, and then finally you decided, you know what, this ain't happening again, so I'm out of here.
you know what?
I don't know if that's the
It
case
is
though.
so rare in life and in sports to just go out on top.
Yeah,
So many guys get there and they just I get it. You want to come back, you want to do it again. Like look at
yeah.
Aaron Donald last year. Like he probably should have retired. But he's like, let's try it one more time. And it didn't really work out. Who else? Peyton Manning went out, won a Super Bowl. Did he call it quits after that Super Bowl? I don't think he went out on top. Didn't he come back for one more year?
Um,
Or did he go out on top?
I think he did come out
Okay,
go out
so
on
he went
top.
out on top. He was one of those. John Elway's another one I can think of that went out on top. He won back-to-back Super Bowls,
Yep.
went out on top. Tom Brady, he ain't going out on top, baby, and I love it. I mean, he's got 7 Super Bowl rings, which is 7 more than we'll ever have,
Yep.
but he ain't going out on top. But, you know, it's rare to happen. So for this guy, you've coached for 26 years,
Yep.
and you finally get to that, that grind, 26 years, that trying to get to that point.
Well, he was
And you
probably going to
finally
retire anyway.
maybe he was. Maybe this was just the icing on the cake. Like, look, this is the year, and it just so happens you win a championship. That is just the
Yep.
bookend to a great career for a dude. And
Yep.
congratulations to him. I
Sure.
do the same thing. Look, you've done something that long, and you finally get to the mountaintop. Why tarnish? Going back and maybe not doing it
Well,
again.
if you thought you had a number of players coming back that it might happen again, maybe he realizes that most of his good players are all seniors and he's going to have to start over and rebuild again. He didn't want to go through
Maybe,
that.
maybe not. I mean, he's leaving the program with a assistant that's been there with him.
Right.
So,
Yep.
maybe he's like, look, the program's in a good spot. I've done this for 26 years. I think you just find that moment where everything just kind of worked out and you're like, you know what? This is probably the perfect time. I won my championship and now I can pass the keys off to the next guy and he can start his career with hopefully a good foundation that he's already kind of set and that program can continue on with that sustaining success. So congratulations and what a great story. Maybe we'll get a great little movie out of it someday. One can only hope.
All right, a little bit of IFL news this week.
The IFL, what is that?
Indoor Football League. The
Oh.
Arizona Rattlers unveiled a 30th anniversary logo,
Which
which
by
is
the way
kind of
was
cool.
kind of cool.
I liked it.
I'm a little disappointed because like the Rattlers were one of those OG arena football teams.
Sure.
And kudos to them for sticking around through. And you're about to list off the different leagues they've kind of been a part of over the years.
No,
But
just the 2 leagues.
they've been a part of 2 leagues, but
Yeah.
still to maintain a quality
Yes.
team
Yes.
through 2 different leagues that play 2 different styles of indoor football.
Yep.
It's just a great organization that has just known how to navigate and keep that thing together. And they got a great fan base. That's one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
greatest indoor/arena football fan bases you're ever going to find.
Yeah, they were in the Arena Football League for 24 seasons, 1992 to 2016, and won 5 titles. They were in several more championship games.
Oh, yeah.
But they won 5 titles, and then they joined the Indoor Football League after that, and they've won 1 title in that league.
But they've been
I think they've been in a few others also.
They've probably been in a couple, but they've also been the most like every year we talk about them being like the number 1 team.
Yep.
And they just lose by a field goal in a playoff or the championship game. I
Yep.
think that one year they lost to the Pirates last year.
Yeah, by a
by a
walk-off field goal.
By a walk-off field goal. So, they've been a great, solid, consistent team for 20,
30 years.
30 years technically,
29 years. going on
24
30.
years in the Arena League, consistently good.
Yep.
I don't ever remember them being terrible. They were always in the playoff discussion.
Yeah.
And then transitioning into the Indoor Football League after the Arena League folded up, they've kept up that same success.
Yep.
So, one of the most underrated sports organizations. Nobody will probably ever talk about in the annals of history, but I'm going to recognize them as one of the greatest organizations out there.
Yep, always a tough team. Them, the Rattlers and San Jose, always just super
They
tough.
were.
Always in the playoffs, always in the playoff hunt. A lot of arena bowls.
But unfortunately, San Jose didn't stick around.
True.
Arizona has figured out a way to
True.
sustain jumping to a different league.
Yep.
There's been a couple other technically arena teams that have made the transition to these other leagues, but I just don't think it's the same monochrome of success / just how well that organization is run, in my opinion. I think the Rattlers are the gold standard for the smaller tiered organization, like how they're run. I mean, absolutely. You if you're an indoor league, you're going to want to set up your organization like whatever the Rattlers are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're fantastic.
Yep.
So,
and moving on to Arena Football TV on YouTube, they have not posted another game yet this week, but they've got over 500 games on that YouTube channel. You can check
it's
out
great. I love
a lot
when
of
a random
Arizona.
recommendation pops up from that channel.
Yeah.
So,
And they did. I did see one on my feed. It was an Arizona game, but it was from. It had been posted about 3 or 4 years ago, so it wasn't new. But if you want to check out the Arizona Rattlers and see what this is all about, go to Arena Football TV on YouTube and check out some Arizona Rattlers.
283 videos they have on there right now. 1.45 thousand subscribers. So, hey, they're doing some good stuff there. Yeah, their last video was posted 2 weeks ago, which was we talked about it, the 2003 Week 16 matchup between the Indiana Firebirds and Chicago Rush.
Right, yeah.
So that game was 20 years ago, May 18th of 2003. Yeah. So
and
a lot of good stuff out there. I'm telling you, if you guys are listening to our show and maybe you've been familiar with the Arena League, haven't really seen a whole lot, great archival stuff. Is some of the footage a little rough? Maybe, but I mean, you could still sit down and enjoy it. It's some great stuff. Great product.
A few weeks ago, they posted a game between the Arizona Rattlers and the Detroit Fury, a game that I was at, and I remember that being at that.
Yeah,
game.
There's a couple of Fury games they've done. Well, that was 3 months ago. They did a Fury at Arizona Rattlers, but then they had a Tampa Bay Storm at Detroit Fury game. So quite a few. The
Fury
team,
at Arizona, I was at that game.
But the team we were just talking about, the Rattlers, the last couple of months, they've definitely put up a few Rattlers games. So, yeah, and hopefully there's news coming down the pipeline for Arena Football. We'll see.
I don't want to.
We're still waiting. It's been a week.
Get my hopes up.
I know, but it's been a week and I haven't heard anything new.
Yeah.
Waiting on that announcement. We got DC Comics movies announcements coming. I know you don't care. We had the Oscar. Hold on, we had
a tangent again.
We had Oscar announcements today. The Batman got snubbed. Everybody, write your congressman or write your local Oscar voter and tell them how disappointed you are that the Batman only got 3 nominations.
Today's birthdays in football news for January 24th include Coach Monty Clark. Born on this date in 1937, he passed away in 2009 at the age of 72. He played college football at USC and was selected in the 4th round of the 1959 NFL Draft by the San Francisco 49ers. He played 11 seasons in the NFL with the 49ers, Cowboys, and Browns between 1959 and 1969. I did not know that. He was an assistant coach with Miami Dolphins from 1970 to 1975 and was part of the staff that went undefeated in 1972. And he was also the interim head coach of the 49ers in 1976. He became the head coach of the Detroit Lions for 6 seasons from 1978 to 1984 and posted a record of 43 wins, 61 losses, and 1 tie. After that, he went on to be an assistant coach at Stanford during the 93 and 94 seasons, and he returned to the Dolphins as an assistant coach in 1995. Yeah, I didn't realize that Monty Clark played 11 years in the NFL. I just always remember him as the Lions head coach. And he led them into the playoffs one time, and the very famous picture of him praying on the sidelines for Eddie Murray. Was it Eddie Murray? I forget who the kicker was. It might have been Eddie Murray. To kick the game-winning field goal to beat the San Francisco 49ers, and they missed it. So, that kept the losing streak alive for the Lions. But, yep, birthdays today, head coach Monty Clark. Okay, we have one obituary to talk about. This is where we take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place.
Do you want me to read this one since you've been talking?
If you want to, go ahead.
I can do it. All right. Our obituary this week is that of Ed Beard, a linebacker in the NFL for 8 seasons, has passed away at the age of 83. Beard played college football at Tennessee and was selected in the 14th round of the 1964 NFL Draft by the San Francisco 49ers. He was also selected in the 20th round of the 1964 American Football League Draft by the Oakland Raiders. He signed with the 49ers and played his entire career with the team from 1965 to 1972. He went on to be an assistant coach with the 49ers from 1973 to 1977, the New Orleans Saints in 1980, and the Detroit Lions in 1983 and 1984.
Okay, we're up to the point in the show where we're going to do this week's history lesson. Anything on your phone that you saw come through while we've been talking
No
that you
breaking
want to talk
news
about?
yet. I don't know what kind of news we're expecting. We already know that the USFL press conference is a couple days from now.
Right.
No breaking Arena League news, unfortunately.
No NFL head coaches fired, like in Dallas, maybe?
Not fired, but the last thing I did see was that Dan Quinn was flown out for the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys was flown out to Arizona for a second interview
Hmm.
with the Cardinals. Apparently, he is a leading candidate for the Colts and for one other job. The Broncos, I believe,
Hmm.
is the other one. So right now, he's kind of a leading candidate, the defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn, former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, he's been with the Dallas the last couple of years as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there haven't been any head coach hirings so
Nope.
far
The
this
the biggest thing
offseason.
has been also today the Patriots announced that they are having Bill O'Brien come in to be their new offensive coordinator, which means Matt Patricia is no longer their offensive coordinator,
Oh, he can go.
unfortunately.
He can go back to being the defensive guru that he always
Oh
was.
yeah. He can go guru somewhere else.
Okay, this week's history lesson. Since the XFL is coming back next month, you suggested that I do uh, multiple history lessons on the original XFL. So I just may be doing that over the next couple weeks. But today, the history lesson is we're going to talk about the very first XFL game ever played way back in 2001.
I remember that one.
As the third incarnation of the XFL is set to debut next month, I thought it would be appropriate to take a look back at the very first XFL game ever played way back in 2001. The inaugural XFL game was played on February 3rd, 2001, at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas between the Las Vegas Outlaws and the New York, New Jersey Hitmen. A crowd of 30,389 fans showed up to see what this new football league was all about. The 2001 XFL was a combined effort between the World Wrestling Federation, owned by Vince McMahon, and NBC Sports. New rules were developed to make the game unique from the NFL. One of the most iconic rule changes was thought up just the day before the first game was played. Instead of a coin toss to see who would get the ball first, a player from each team would race to the ball, and whoever possessed it, their team would get the ball first. The two players involved in the very first scramble for the ball, as it was called, were safety Donnie Caldwell of the Hitmen and safety Jamel Williams of the Outlaws. The ball was placed on the XFL logo at the 50-yard line. The two players stood at the 30-yard line, and when the ref blew the whistle, they raced to the ball. Jamel Williams of the Outlaws won the scramble. Another innovation was the sky camera, a totally new innovation that had never been used during a football game broadcast before. There were also cameramen on the field with steady cameras to get viewers even closer to the action on the field. They wore hockey helmets in case they were run over during the game. Having cameras on the field was another first for any football league. Players could also have nicknames on the backs of their jersey instead of their last names. The most famous nickname of them all was unveiled during that very first game. Running back Rod Smart of the Outlaws came out onto the field with "He Hate Me" on the back of his jersey. Smart went on to have a 5-year career in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers and the Philadelphia Eagles. He also played in one game for the Edmonton Eskimos of the Canadian Football League in 2001. In the end, the Outlaws won the first XFL game, shutting out the Hitmen 19-0. Sports Illustrated even put the XFL on the cover of their February 12th issue the following week. The inaugural XFL lasted only one season. It was revived in 2020, but the season was cut short due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The newest version of the XFL is owned by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his ex-wife and business partner, Danny Garcia. It is set to begin play on February 18th. Will this third incarnation of the XFL be successful? We shall see.
Yeah, I was really happy when you decided to go with my idea for doing some XFL once with the XFL around the corner. But I know you also like doing your Black History Month history lessons in
Right.
February.
Right.
So this just seemed like the appropriate time to start
Yep.
this off
Get one
because
in.
before we know it, the XFL season is going to be starting up. So for those of you who weren't around or don't remember much from the original XFL, I thought it'd be a lot of fun. So I think you did a good job.
Yeah, it was interesting to look back at that game. I mean, who
Which you
doesn't?
have on VHS, by the
Yes.
way.
Yeah, I taped a lot of the games. I
You did.
mean,
That was I remember you making sure you were if I remember correctly, so it was 2001, so what was I? I was 12 years old? I was yeah, a little 12-year-old, and you were really adamant about, "I have to get this recorded, like, this is a historic day, blah, blah, blah," and you had that in there, you recorded everything, so you got it on VHS. I'm sure other people have it online somewhere, you could probably find it on
oh yeah,
YouTube,
probably.
but for you, I thought that was great, and I remember being excited as well, like a brand new league. I remember having XFL shirts with all the team logos on it, wearing them to school.
Yep.
My team was the Chicago Enforcers.
Yep.
You were the Las Vegas Outlaws
Yep.
fan,
The Outlaws was my team.
which we like picking these teams for these leagues that we don't get a Michigan team for. Which keep your eyes out, everybody. We have an XFL declaration coming. Yeah, we're gonna be doing some more XFL stuff, which I'm excited about us ramping into. But yeah, I remember watching that game. It was a 19-0
Yep.
kind of a boring game a little bit.
Yep.
Not as exciting as it was kind of hyped up to be, but oh man, that lead up. I won't ever forget just the lead up and the hype into that first game was unreal. The fireworks, the Ed McMahon just coming out and just doing what Ed McMahon does, making a big loud mouthpiece out of himself and then having the scramble for the ball.
Did you say Ed McMahon?
Did I say Ed McMahon?
Vince
Vince McMahon. That's who I meant. Thank you. But just that whole show, because yeah, it was WWE, but on a football field, pretty much. The players had outrageous nicknames on the back. He Hate Me became a meme before the memes started. Like it was a thing.
Yep.
And he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, wasn't he?
No, the week after that they had the team on the February 12th issue, but it was a game between the San Francisco Demons and
Okay,
the
I just remember
LA
He Hate
Extreme.
Me made it on. He was everywhere.
Oh
That
yeah.
the image of the back of his jersey was
Yep.
everywhere. So,
Yep.
iconic. Not the greatest game in the world, a 19-0,
Right.
game, but man, the promise of the XFL was something I will never forget.
The one thing that I remember from that very first game is, that sky camera was brand new. Nobody had ever thought about doing that at a football game, and it was awesome. But they used it way too much. That was like their main camera. They never went away from it for, the 4 or 5 plays. All you got was the sky camera view, and it got to be really annoying after a while. I mean, it's great to use it like for a replay to see, to follow the player through the hole or through the line and, down the field or whatever. But you can't use that all the time. The NFL uses it a good share of the time now, and it's they kind of balance that with the regular views
It
of the
would be
field.
great. I would love to see. I'm sure maybe somebody out there on YouTube has done because there's some great football archivists and historians out there on the internet that I would love to see just the videos showing the examples of the carcasses of these leagues and what the NFL decided to like pick from the
Oh,
carcasses of
they
these
stole
dead
something
leagues.
from every league.
Oh yeah, they cherry pick so much stuff, and
Yep,
now so much so that even the idea of the sky judge from the
yep.
AAF, right?
Well, that actually goes back to the USFL in
Okay, okay,
1985.
but whatever that sky
Yeah,
judge or
yep,
finally having some sort of replay system like that,
yep,
finally like fully intact. Like the
yep.
NFL's kind of cherry picked from everything except for that yet, but we'll see with this newest round of owner meetings coming. But yeah, I that's something else I'd love to see is a documentary or something about that. The NFL just picking the carcass apart of all these
Well, they
leagues.
did. There was an XFL, like a 30 for 30 on the XFL, and they talked to Jerry Jones, and he in that documentary said, "We saw that sky camera on the XFL, and we said we have got to get that."
Yeah.
And so they couldn't wait
Do
for
you do you have that one on Blu-ray or
the
DVD
document.
yet?
I don't think so.
So you got the USFL
I do
documentary.
have that
Small
one.
Potatoes
Small
is great.
potatoes. Yep.
I would love to get the XFL one.
Yeah, I
I got to
haven't
start
looked at
collecting
that
some
yet.
of those 30 for 30s. That's something else on my list I need to get. But
Mhm.
anyway, I mean, we loved the original
Yep.
XFL. It was sad that we never got a year two, which is a history lesson you might do.
Yeah, they were
The
talking about
proposed year
expanding
two.
to two different cities after the
Yes, don't
season,
spoil it for me now.
but it wasn't to be. But they were talking about expansion. Okay, let's go on. Lastly, today, the upcoming events calendar. This weekend, you've got the NFL Conference Finals. You've got Cincinnati at Kansas City and San Francisco at Philadelphia this Sunday. Sunday, February 5th, the Pro Bowl flag football game extravaganza in New Orleans that nobody is going to be watching.
I hold on. I won't say nobody. They've been ramping
That
up.
people will watch for 5 minutes and decide, I need to go clean out the garage.
That might be more accurate, but they have been ramping up the marketing for this, and the NFL's got some of the greatest marketing people out there because you know what they do? Well, you've seen the commercials. They're putting Peyton and Eli out there
Yeah.
front and center
Yep.
with great chemistry.
They're coaching the two teams.
Funny commercials.
Yep.
I think I don't know if that will actually translate into people sticking around and watching the full game. People will probably tune in, and we'll see how the product goes. I could see. I think we were talking about this. I could see the potential for this being like a fun. If they kind of do a WWE style, like fake, not having the events scripted, but like having everybody everybody mic'd up. Pat McAfee comes in and stirs the pot a little bit, kind of stuff. As long as they entertain us, because guess what? We're not going to get a fun, competitive, regular Pro Bowl game like we got in years past. That's been long over with. Just give us something. Entertain me for a couple hours with players that I like. All these all-star players that are going to get together, all of them having unique personalities. Showcase them. That's kind of what I want to see. That's what, if anything, I don't expect the product of the flag football to be all that great. At least give me, fun player interactions that I can sit there and go, I didn't waste my time. If they can do that and say that I didn't waste my time, I call it a win. But you, on the other hand, I don't think you're going to let that even seep into your brain. You expect this to waste your time anyway.
Yeah. Have you seen the latest advertisement for that with Peyton and Eli where they're talking about dodgeball?
I've seen 3 or 4.
It's basically, where Peyton is throwing a dodgeball at Eli, and Eli is.
Then I haven't seen this one yet.
Yeah, is demonstrating the dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that one.
So yeah, Peyton's just having a good time throwing this dodgeball at his brother.
I've seen, what was it? There's one where their mom calls. There's one where Eli's with a player who rips a tackling dummy in half. Yeah. So I'm not saying they're all great. They've had a couple chuckle moments, but we'll see.
I saw this one online.
They're ramping up that marketing. It's only going to get crazier.
Yeah. Okay, and then Sunday, February 12th, Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona. And finally, on Saturday, February 18th, the XFL regular season begins.
A whole 6 days after the Super Bowl. Yep. No rest for us. Nope. We're going to transition from talking about NFL scores to XFL scores. Yep. So we don't even get to take a nice little week off.
Nope.
Not though this year. There will be that dead week with the Pro Bowl in there. It'll be probably a slow news week. But we got some ideas, everybody. Stick around and check out the YouTube channel around that point.
Yeah, we'll have something for that bye week or that no game week.
Yeah, but that's it. I have no breaking news. Okay. I'm good. If you're good.
All right, I'm good. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original content in the form of articles, and videos and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo. You can also follow our Twitter. The address there is at TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this very podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, which I helped a coworker find, by the way. So thank you there. And we are also available on YouTube. You can search our YouTube, which is The World of Football Kalamazoo. We are currently sitting at 104 subscribers, so thank you, everybody. Tell all your friends about us, and we love interacting with people on there. If you can't find The World of Football Kalamazoo just by searching in the search bar, why don't you use our handle in the URL? That is youtube.com/the @ The World of Football. Very easy, very simple to find us. We are also on Amazon Music now, so simply ask your Alexa to, quote, play The World of Football podcast, end quote. Don't use the quotes when you say that. Feel free to subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment on any of the platforms. Let us know what you think. And please, on any of these platforms, come be a part of the football conversation. We enjoy it.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do. but nobody loves more football than we do. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow with nothing funny to add to the end, which I was trying to think of just now.
Thank goodness. And we'll see you all next week.